Hi everyone, and thanks for coming back to our channel. It's the 18th of May 2010 and we are having a look round the Helmshore Textile Mills Museum. Midway between Manchester and the major Lancashire town of Blackburn, the museum is in the northwest of England. These mills give a wonderful snapshot back into Britain's historic industrial past. There are two different types of textile mill here. The manufacture of cotton fabrics can be somewhat different from that used to make wool. One of the mills on this site is a fulling mill. The fulling process removes lanolin and other impurities from existing woolen fabrics to create a new type of fabric which is insulating, smooth and water repellent. The other type of mill on this site is a spinning mill. This converts raw unstructured cotton to make threads, which can then be woven into cotton fabrics. Like many other mills, the mills here at Helmshore were originally powered by water. The water was diverted from streams on nearby hillsides, using a series of water channels called goits to funnel water into a mill pond. The mill pond allowed water to be stored so it could maintain a constant height and then give a consistent power source. You can still see the water intakes and the mill pond here. The water was then used to rotate a water wheel, which then used a series of belts and pulleys to power all the mechanical equipment within these mills. Moving into the fulling mill, the mill would acquire woolen fabric which was wetted with an alkali solution. The alkali reacted with the lanolin, this is a natural oil in the sheep's wool, and formed a soapy mixture. The wet soapy woolen fabric was then folded into a frame and then repeatedly pounded with a heavy mechanical foot. After being pounded for several hours, the water was then squeezed out of the fabric and it was dried. In the early days, drying was done by stretching the fabric over a series of frames which were left outside so the woolen fabric could dry in the sun. These frames were called tenterframes. In later years, the fabric was dried indoors using steam heating. The new fabric was much smoother than the old one and it was much more moisture repellent. Whilst the mill could produce different types of woolen fabrics, one typical use would be for military overcoats used in World War I and World War II. Moving into the spinning mill, this would start with cotton in a raw or a recycled state. Raw cotton is a loose, unstructured clump of natural fibres. It's lumpy, with little strength on its own, and it can easily be pulled apart. These textile mills at Helmshore used a mixture of raw cotton, which came straight from the Americas, as well as cotton waste reused from elsewhere. Reused cotton was sometimes known as shoddy, and it was used to make the production process more efficient. Here at Helmshore, the old cotton waste was hard and often of lower quality, so it needed to be broken up using a machine known as a devil. The devil machine was prone to cause fires, and it produced an awful lot of cotton dust. Working with machinery in the cotton industry meant that people were at serious risk of physical injury due to being hit by moving parts. They also suffered from a fatal lung disease called byssinosis, also known as cotton workers' cancer. This was caused by inhaling all the cotton dust. Byssinosis is recognised as an industrial disease. To give the cotton fibres a smooth linear structure, they were then combed so all the fibres ran in the same direction. This was known as carding and was done using a series of combs assembled into a carding machine. Once all the cotton fibres had been aligned in the same direction, they were twisted together to form a thread. When the fibres were loose, they had no strength, but the action of spinning the cotton into threads gave them strength. The machine that did this was called a spinning machine. Initially this was done by hand, with literally one thread at a time on a spinning wheel, but this process was very inefficient. It was later improved so that one person could produce many threads on a single frame. It was then improved again in the form of large industrial spinning machines. This was much more efficient, but it led to people losing their incomes. Eventually, it led to protest riots as well. These large spinning machines occupied a huge area and were often run continually. If the machines needed to be cleaned or rethreaded, this had to be done from inside the machine. As they were smaller, This work was often done by children, many of whom were injured as the machines moved across the factory floor. A number of new laws were brought in to try and prevent children being forced to work. These laws were not always very effective, and it took a long time before children were banned from working in the factories. The threads that were produced by these spinning machines was then used to weave cotton cloth on a loom. At one time, Lancashire was one of the most important areas in the entire world for the production of cotton fabrics. Textile mills like these at Helmshore had a range of different jobs, from low-level cleaning and labouring, up to people who would maintain the machinery. At the top of the hierarchy was the mill manager. He would plan all the mill operations. He would work from an office in the mill, although he would periodically walk around the factory to check on operations. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and give our video a quick like. We'd really appreciate this as it really helps our channel. Thanks for watching.